Good evening, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the evening of Sunday, the 16th of March. My disclaimer, it is for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some what I'm doing, learn from it, and transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Now, we had a nice rally on Friday, and I think it might have legs. I've got more to say about this on the Bigger Picture charts, quite a lot more actually, but in the short term, let's just have a look at the futures where we've got a nice looking double bottom on ES, but I am thinking we might see a bit of a decline to start off with. We've got weak 60-minute sell signals, only weak ones, but nonetheless weak ones on ES, NQ, RTY, and YM. So I am wondering about that. Do we have an obvious reversal pattern on YM? Not yet, but we are testing the main declining resistance trend line. We've broken that on RTY, albeit not by a lot, and we've got a nice looking double bottom set up. NQ, this really looks like a bear flag. It's pretty much a perfect bear flag channel. So I am wondering about that, but we'll see how that goes. But I wouldn't be surprised short term to see this return, possibly retest the low. I am wondering about low retests. So we will see. Looking at DAX and the SDX, which are pretty much on a different planet, both of those have IHSs which have broken up with targets pretty close to the highs. We'll see how they go. I'm thinking if this rally's got legs, they'll probably make a target, but we might see some significant retracement first tomorrow. So we shall see. Let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Okay, now the thing I was looking at on the bigger picture charts was I was having a look at the weekly charts. Let's have a look at the 3SD lower bound on the weekly charts, all right? Because we saw a significant spike below it last week. What happens generally, because obviously this goes back to 2018, but nonetheless, these touches don't happen too often. What happened at this touch of the weekly lower band? We made a low. We made a very significant low and basically started a trend which started up for the next year. Here, we broke below the daily middle band and had 3 weeks of continuing down because this was a very strong downtrend in 2020, and then obviously we then went into uptrend for a couple of years. Looking further, we touched the 3SD lower band here, and then we continued down. Here we touched it, and we had a couple of weeks of rally. I mean, here when we did it, we had basically a week of rally. Generally speaking, you will get at least some rally. The following week, we saw this low here, and then we saw a move up, which was a couple of hundred handles, and then we stayed there the following week and came down. So there is a strong pattern of rallies happening. We got a rally here, 2 or 3 weeks, significant low. We don't get that many touches. We saw a touch here at the low at the end of 22, and that started a move up which lasted, a year or so. It's this is a really good place to see a rally, and this isn't only the case on SPX. If we have a look at NDX, then again, we go through and look at the history. Here we had in 2020, obviously we had a couple of weeks below it, but then, made a major low. Next one's here, rallied for a week and a half to 2 weeks after this touch here, had a rally which lasted a week. And I think we touched it less often on NQ. We touched it again at the late 2023 low. Started a major move up from there. This is significant that we've touched this, or at least it generally would be. Now, as we can see from the 2020 crash, it can continue down. But I think we're now getting close to something that might be a significant low. And generally speaking, unless we get some really serious event like Trump not getting laryngitis, for instance, but, because obviously if he keeps talking and delivering news which is, bad, then obviously, it may just go down on that. But actually, from a technical point of view, this really isn't a bad place to see a rally. If we look at the Dow, again, touch the 3SD lower band. If we have a look at IWM, we don't think we quite reached it on IWM, but we got pretty close. Not quite reached it. Reached it for almost reached it the last couple of weeks. But this is, I have to say, the weekly middle band is suggesting that we see a rally for 2 or 3 weeks here. And of course, we do have Trump's been giving the date of April 2nd and saying that's when the the big tariff's going to land. That's 2 weeks away. So I'm just saying, we could see that move. I mean, that takes us up to the 1st of April is a Saturday. Sorry, no, hang on 1 second. March. Right. 1st of April is a Tuesday. 1st of April is a Tuesday. 2nd of April is the Wednesday. So Wednesday, the 2nd of April, is when all these large amounts of extra tariffs are going to go on. And to be honest, I don't doubt that that's going to happen. I think it probably is going to happen from what Trump's been saying. But we do have a 2-week window for optimism and some rally, and to see how far that gets. How far could that get? Well, I mean, really, the first target I'd be looking for would be the daily middle bands. Daily middle band, I've got that at 211.73. Not too far short of that, up 5% or so on IWM. If we have a look at the others, then we've got on SPX, we've got that up here at about the 58.50 area. On the Qs, we've got that up here in about the 505 area. On Dia, we've got that up here in about the 430 area. We could get a decent rally here. I'm thinking we'll likely come down afterwards. I would note that we've got a number of downside targets down here, and we haven't made them. This is the one on SPX, which I've got in the 53.90 to 54.40 area. We've got the one on the Qs, which is getting closer, but still hasn't made it. And I've got those basically in about the 456 to 459 area. If we look at Dia, we're well short of this one. So I don't know if we're going to make that full target, but it's got to say it's a beautiful double top. And on IWM, hang on 1 second. IWM, let's have a look. So on the daily chart, right, okay, daily chart, yeah, we've got, yeah, it's decent. There is something else as well. Now, something I mention quite regularly is that I have much more confidence about the lows if we get some sort of a decent trend line set up and pattern set up. And actually, we are developing that here. SPX, we've got a lovely support trend line now. We've got a nice looking double bottom, which was just trying to break up on SPX at the close on Friday. I'm thinking this really could have legs. I think it could get us up in here into the 57.80 area and potentially higher. But this would give us over the declining resistance trend line. If we have a look at the Qs, I was talking about this last week. We already had a very nice pattern, and that too has broken up. And that too, we got a beautiful double bottom on the Qs. Looking at Dia. Dia, we don't have as much of a reversal pattern, but if we saw a bit of retracement here tomorrow morning, then we could easily set up a right shoulder, and then we would have an IHS to go up. It hasn't broken over declining resistance, but it's not a far stretch to think that it might. And looking at IWM, we had a pretty nice looking little falling wedge here, and that too looks pretty good. Well, it's a 3-touch support trend line, and that's broken up, and that's got a potential double bottom as well. So I think this might have legs. I think it might have legs and deliver us a target, a rally for a couple of weeks. Now, if we don't see a rally for a couple of weeks at this stage, then this is very, very, very weak action indeed. And to be honest, it has been very weak action, but it would be a sign of quite how weak it is. The last time we didn't get a rally when we had this kind of touch was the 2020 crash. And even then, we made a significant low a couple of weeks later. So, watching with interest. Do I think we have the potential for a crash this year? Yes. But to be honest, I don't think this would be the level. What I was thinking was, if we were going to do a real crash this year, then ideally what we would do is we would come down on SPX to this target area here, but ideally down to this 50% retracement level here, 5125, which is a possible head and shoulder neckline, and we'd form a right shoulder there, ideal target in about the 5700 area, and then drop. And that could get us down basically to a full retracement back to the 2023 low at 4103. Is that a possibility here? Yeah, it's on the cards. potentially lower, but we could set up a really nice pattern on there. And I think the next leg down might take us down to this support trend line, support level, and possible neckline. We shall see. Anyway, I'll be outlining those in a post next week, but those are my thoughts. And in terms of the weekly 3SD lower bands, we've been touching them pretty much across the board, and this generally results in a rally of a week or two, and we have just over 2 weeks until Trump's big April 2nd date. So we could see things settle down a bit, see a decent rally, and in which case I think this would probably be setting up for a decent next leg down. We shall see. Ideally, let's say we get up into about the 5800 area and then come down to, well, the target would be in about the 5400 area, and I'm thinking we might extend lower and get down to this big support level and possible head and shoulder neckline at the 50% retracement, and that would be in about the 51.25 area. So we shall see how that goes. All right, great. Let's have a look at the DAX and Nikkei. And on DAX, we've still got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed, we've still got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed. We could be forming a head and shoulders here, but if we see a decent rally, we'll probably see a retest of the high. I'm skeptical about it getting too much higher, but if we see a strong rally on the US indices, maybe. But what I would say is that DAX hasn't really been coming down as far, anything like as far as the US indices. So it's not necessarily right to think that on a move up, it will keep outperforming to the upside. All right, looking at Nikkei, we've got a little bit of positive divergence on the RSI 4, but mainly we've got a possible RSI 5 buy signal. And this is something I wanted to mention on the other indices as well. Now, on the daily chart, I mentioned that there was a possible RSI 5 buy signal brewing. That fixed at the close on Friday. Looking at the others, Dow, of course, we had one there, but it fell. So we no longer have one there. On the Qs, we had one already fixed, and that has reconfirmed to the upside. And on SPX, we had one brewing, and that fixed at the close on Friday as well. So we've got daily RSI 5 buy signals on 3 out of 4. We've got nice patterns coming into this low, and we've got the weekly Bollinger Bands, which generally would deliver a couple of week rally. All this, obviously very subject to Trump and news, but gotta say, from a technical point of view, this is a really, really nice place to be seeing a strong rally, and I think that may well be what we get. So we shall see. All right, great. Let's have a look at... All right, let's have a look at CL. Okay, CL, we've still got a potential level bottom here. I'm still wondering whether it might break up, and it still hasn't. On NQ, we are retracing somewhat here. I've got a very nice looking double bottom that's broken up with a target in the 575 to 625 area, and at the moment I'm still thinking that's probably going to make target. We do have a cold snap coming, which will be hitting in the last week of March, I think, and maybe that can give it a strong push up. We shall see. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. Okay, oil. On the CL chart, we've got a daily RSI 5 buy signal fixed, which is one reason I'm thinking that little level bottom on oil might break up and may well make target. We shall see. We don't have that on WTIC, I would say. On the bigger picture, well, I've got this falling wedge here, and the next obvious target is this wedge support, and that, of course, would deliver very, very close to retest or an actual retest of this low here at 63.57 from 2023. I'm thinking that is the obvious next target, and at that point we have an inflection point where this could be a big double bottom with resistance at 95.03, or we could continue down. So we would see what happened there. Really, I'd like to see it start moving up, but obviously, given the overall situation at the moment, it may well be going down. One thing that I wanted to talk about today was the impact if we get slowing growth in the US, which I think is very, very, very possible. The impact on inflation. And the thing is, of course, when you get a recession, you get a reduction in demand. What does this do? It reduces the demand for products, and this tends to reduce inflation. That is a deflationary pressure. So it also often will deflate the price of oil. So we may well find that oil breaks down through 63.57 and goes significantly lower on the basis of that. All right, let's have a look at natural gas. Natural gas, we've got a weak RSI 5 sell signal, but it reached the possible near miss target. We've got a possible double top here, which I'm not really expecting to deliver anything, but we could break down below support at 383. Really, I'm looking for this to turn back up soon. Because on the bigger picture charts, we've got this lovely double bottom here, and it's got a target up in the 575 to 625 area. And that's actually the 50% retracement of this move down, so it's a pretty obvious Fibonacci target. I think it's got a decent shot, and it's probably going to make that target. All right, let's have a look at gold. Gold has gone higher. Went over 3,000 on GC, got up to, and on the index chart, got up to 3,017.10. Nice move. This could be the second high of a double top, although I am seeing a few potential double tops here. So I'm not seeing an awful lot of reason for gold to go into a serious retracement here. So I'm not taking it that seriously, but I'll take it a lot more seriously if we start getting down towards the monthly pivot at 28.75. What I would say is we've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed, and I'm watching to see where that goes. All right, let's have a look at SI. SI, we have come back and retested this high, and we have another potential level top. And we've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed there too. HG, we've still got a potential level top here, not quite as nice as the others, but still very much there. Let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. And on GC, no current divergence apart from the RSI 14 sell signal that's fixed, and so far hasn't really been a great deal apart from this retracement here to 28.44. Obviously, this double top failed. We went back up into the highs. I would note that I've got this nice looking pattern here, and we're not too far away from resistance. If we have a look at that on the index chart here, I've had this drawn in for a few weeks now, and I've got that resistance up in about the 35 area, I think. I'm thinking we may well go and hit that, and if we were to see a reversal there, then it would be good for confirmation that that is a valid trend line. As it is, it's only got 2 touches, so it is a draft trend line. Should we go a lot higher, I've got this upper trend line above, which has already got 3 touches and is better quality. Would it surprise me to reach that over the next few months? No, it wouldn't. All right, let's have a look at silver. Silver, we've gone back up and retested this high. I've got a couple of pattern setups I'm watching here. I've got one of them with resistance up here at about the 35.5 area, but I would say I've got this larger pattern and longer term pattern here where I've got resistance up at about 38 area. Keeping an open mind, both of the trend lines are nice, and the only way to find out for sure which one it's going to be is to do it. And see whether or not it holds. So we shall see. But I'm quite liking both of those. We will see which one is valid. But this trend on this chart here, that trend line basically comes up through here and goes up. And I've got that in about the 38 area. We'll see whether it's got the legs to get there on this move up. Right, palladium. I was asked a few days ago whether I could see any signs of a low on palladium or platinum, and I was saying no at the time, but actually now I've updated this palladium chart into the June contract. I can see a nice looking double bottom. We will see how that goes. Looking at, hang on, wait a second. I'm just going to pull up the bigger picture palladium continuous chart. Do we have a double bottom on there? Really, no. So I would say I would take that with a slight pinch of salt. But nonetheless, that's a nice looking double bottom there. We've got no divergence worth the mention, but that's got potential legs, and we have actually made it through the declining resistance trend line. So we'll see. Do I have anything similar on platinum? I don't. Not very obvious what is happening here on platinum. What I would say is on both palladium and platinum, neither of these has really significantly participated in this big move up on gold. Silver has participated to an extent. Neither of these have really got anywhere that I would expect them to get. So we'll see whether that continues to be the case. HG, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed. That's delivered nothing so far, obviously. We were getting a retracement, but it looked like a flag, and it was a flag. So we'll see. No current divergence, but I would say on the bigger picture, we're getting into nosebleed levels here. We've got the all-time high in 2024 at 520. We're getting up to a retest of that. And if we're going to have a recession, which I think is very, very possible, starting over the next few months, unless Trump tells us all this was all a joke about tariffs. He didn't really mean it. But if he does mean it, then where I would expect to see deflationary recession happening, and that is going to affect the price of copper, which is called Dr. Copper because it's a good reflection of the growth in the economy. When the growth is going up, copper tends to go up too. So we'll see how that goes. I'm wondering if we might go back and retest this high, but if we do see that, then that may be the second high of a double top, and we could see copper have a very bad couple of years. All right, let's have a look at GDX. GDX, I was talking last week about a test of this high here at 43.71, and we've done it. GDXJ, I was talking about a retest of this high here at 54.19. We've done that too. We have potential double tops on both of these. So we've got the one on gold, the one on silver, the one on copper. We've also got GDX and GDXJ. Does it mean this needs to play out? No. Does it mean they, might they play out? Yes. So it's something to be wary about. In terms of GDX, we've got a potential rising wedge here. We've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing, and we've got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed. This is quite a lot of sell signal. There is certainly reason to think that we're going to see a pullback here. Do we have a decent pattern on GDXJ? Yes. Do we have an RSI 14 sell signal brewing on the alley? Yes. Do we have an RSI 5 sell signal fixed? Yes. So I'm wondering about a reversal short term on both of these. And it may be that gold's been going up while equity's been going down. If we have a rally for a couple of weeks, then maybe we'll see a pullback in gold for a couple of weeks. We shall see. All right, let's have a look at the bonds chart. Now, this looks like a bull flag forming, and I think this is a bull flag forming, so I'm leaning towards seeing a retest of this high here. We'll see how that goes. I'm thinking that could be the second high of a double top when we get there. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, bond yields have been coming down and bonds have therefore been going up, and that's really good. And I think the best thing for bond yields actually is if we do go into a recession, because money will come out into it from equities, but also, of course, inflation will go down. Keeping an open mind on that one. But what I would say is that the other issues that could happen with tariffs or could count against that. We could have a situation where the dollar starts being less fully utilized as a reserve currency. Because the reality is, if the US falls out with most of its traditional allies, there's not much reason for them to hold dollars as the reserve currency. That might actually have a big impact. The other thing is that Trump's got very ambitious tax cut plans this year, and I don't think the bond market's going to like those at all. I think they're going to reduce the chances they're ever going to see their money again back from the US, and it will be another sign that the US isn't taking any kind of balanced budget seriously. So I think there'll be a bond market revolt. If we do see that, then I think we could see interest rates go up to 8%. What happens when ZB goes? That happens. What happens to ZB when that happens? ZB heads down into 70-80 area. So I think ZB could be going down an awful lot. We will see. All right, looking at DX, we're trying to form a low here. It's not a great looking potential inverted head and shoulders here, but we do have one potentially. Week 60-minute sell signal fixed, but I'm wondering about a rally here. All right, let's have a look at the big picture charts on those. Okay, looking at US dollar, we've got a weak RSI 5 buy signal fixed, and I'm wondering about a bit of a rally. We spent a few days obviously consolidating around here. We will see. Obvious target, that would be the daily middle band in about the 105, 106 area, and we'll see how that goes. I think we might well go and do that. In terms of the bigger picture chart here, where am I seeing this? Well, we've got this falling wedge here, which is, I think, a bear flag, slightly oversized for it, but I think it is a good pattern fit for it. And I think it's not that oversized. But I mean, this is something I've been looking at for months. I mean, we started this rally in mid 2004, and I was calling it at the low, and we had some nice positive divergence. We had a good pattern set up with this nice big falling wedge. When we got up to over basically 104.70, I think, and we made this high. I drew in this possible wedge here, which looks pretty nice. And although, for some reason, the trend line seemed to have wandered here. Sorry, bear with me a moment. Either that or the data's wandered. We'll see. All right. So basically, I'm thinking this is a megaphone, and I'm thinking we're heading back to support, and then we'll probably break down from there. And then on the bigger picture, if we're not going to go back and retest and make a stab at retesting 114.75, then we have an obvious pattern set up for this, and that is, on the bigger picture, that we are forming an A, B, C flag. Obvious target, we're down here. I've got a trend line about the 97 area, and that, depending on when it is reached, may intersect this main support trend line for the much, much bigger rising megaphone. I'm liking it. It's a nice looking setup. This is more bullish than the double top would have been, obviously. But who knows what's going to happen on currencies over the next few years. I tend to follow the pattern setups, and this is saying bull flag to me at the moment. So until demonstrated otherwise, that's what I'm looking for. And I think the next big target is going to be this 96, 97 area. All right, let's have a look at bonds. Now, bonds, we've got a potential inverted head and shoulders, which actually has a target in the 8.1 area, which is one reason I have an 8.1 in my mind. Reckless tax plans, that could definitely get us there. In fact, actually, I think on the leaderboard for the most indebted nations in the world in percentage of GDP, I think the US is currently at number 16, and most of those have interest rates in the 6% or above area. The US dollar has a better credit rating, and of course, it is the reserve currency. But the bond market's patience, I suspect, isn't endless. We'll see. All right, let's have a look at the daily charts here. We've got a weak RSI 5 buy signal fixed, and that's halfway to target. And this is suggesting that bonds are going to continue down, and that we are going to have a stab at getting towards this bull flag target here, and that target is in the 49.97 area. I think this is a bull flag, and it's broken up, and there is a but here. Do I have a decent pattern here for the flag? No, I don't. And that is concerning me a bit, because generally speaking, something I'm looking at a significant high or low is a decent pattern. Now, I don't always get one, but I usually do. I don't have one here, and I've looked. I've looked pretty hard, actually. So we will see how that goes. Another thing I was thinking was, it could be, the reason I'm not seeing it is because we're forming a head and shoulders here. Ideal target up here in about the 45.05 area, and then we go down. But that would mean that we wouldn't make it to the this bull flag target, and really I'm expecting it to, and I think the timing isn't bad for getting there. We'll see. All right, great. Let's have a look at the skip over the currencies, because it's not great to see on those. Okay, KC, I'm still wondering about an ABC, where a C wave may be going down to about 355 area. On sugar, we had a nice looking double bottom which broke up and made target. I'm wondering whether we might resume the downtrend to make lower targets, because I'm wondering if we're going to need to get some lower targets. CC, wouldn't surprise me to go lower, but we do have a shot here with this very nice looking potential double bottom. On wheat, potential level top here, but the higher it goes, the less convincing it is. We've got a 6-minute sell signal fixed here, but it really has delivered very little so far. On corn, maybe setting up a little double top here, wondering about a possible retest of this low. And soy, this looks like a bull flag forming. Also wondering about a possible retest this low, but I have to say, so far, this looks very much like a bull flag forming. Could be setting up a retest this high. We will see. We're in a big inflection point on grains at the moment, and we will see how that develops. Okay, on soy, potential level bottom here. Sorry, I've actually got the sequence wrong. Okay, cotton. Cotton, we could be seeing a low here. No really obvious reversal pattern though. All right, wheat. Possible IHS forming, not very clear. Corn looks like a bull flag, and soy looks like a double bottom, which may be about to break up. Should have marked in the double bottom resistance up here in about the 103.7 area. All right, looking at lumber. Lumber, no obvious On the bigger picture, which I was showing you on the daily charts, I am wondering if we might see a reversal back down here. But I'd quite like to see a retest of this high first here to set up a double top. On lean hogs, we are continuing higher, and we may well be heading back up into retest this high in about the 202 area. And lean hogs, by the way, I've rolled ES, NQ, RTY, YM, and live cattle and lean hogs into June today. Okay, so we've got this nice looking falling megaphone here. We have broken up. We had the inverted head and shoulders. We hadn't made target on the April contract, but actually this is a smaller one here on the June contract, and we have already made the target. So I haven't actually marked it in. We don't have any targets further to the upside, but I am wondering if we're going to resume the uptrend here. Obviously, if there is a lot of conviction that a recession is coming, and I think a recession probably is coming, then that's likely to depress demand and prices. But I think nothing goes up and down in a straight line. I think we are overdue a rally, and I think we've got a pretty decent shot of getting one here. That'll probably lift up the others with it too. All right, let's have a look at the let's have a look at the bigger picture charts on those. And coffee. Coffee, we've broken the rising support here, which is interesting. Looks like a bull flag forming. That may retest the high. When we get back to that retest the high, because we are actually, by historical standards, we are in very rarefied territory here. In fact, since late 23, this is actually triple. And it's a new all-time high by not a small amount. I'm thinking we may be reversing soon. I'd like to see a bull flag, then a retest of the high, and then potentially a fell, which could set up a really nice short. Sugar. No current divergence here. The reason I'm thinking about it going lower is I'm thinking it might need to retest this low here at 1752. I think this might just be setting up a move down there, which could end this move down. On cocoa, we've got possible RSI 14 and RSI 5 buy signals brewing. Pretty sure they were brewing on Wednesday, and I think they might have even been brewing last Saturday. Wondering about those breaking up and delivering a sizable rally. In the short term, again, cocoa got into very rarefied territory. I am not thinking this is a double top here, because the target would be almost zero, so it's improbably large to be a double top. But I am thinking we may well go down, possibly test this big support area in the 6,000s. All right, wheat. Wheat. We have a potential double bottom here. Might need another low retest, but I'm thinking we may have a nice looking double top for a double bottom for a nice move up. On corn, less clear here. We had a nice looking double top. That's made target. Wondering about a possible retest of the low here. And soy, we've already retested the low, but we haven't retested this low. I'm wondering if we could see continuation down on the grains to make some lower targets before we see a larger reversal back up. On cotton, we had a very nice bottoming setup here, which then fell pretty hard and into this low here at 58.38. I'm slightly frustrated. The continuous chart here is a bit light on the day, so you can see the volume isn't high. So to be honest, I'm not making a great deal of sense of this. I'm very annoyed that stock charts stop covering this on the future. So short term, though, no current negative divergence, nothing compelling saying that we're going to go down. Lumber, I'm wondering about a retest of this high, and I'm wondering about a second high of a double top when we get there. We've got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed, and if we saw that retest the high, we might have a weak RSI 14 sell signal brewing as well. We shall see. All right, great. In that case, that's a wrap. I'll have this posted as soon as possible. I'll catch you guys again on Wednesday.